Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds on Champions League. First match day. We are back with our favorite competition to analyze the games we have on Wednesday. Hello, Alvaro. Hello, Dani. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Ciao, Alvaro. Missed you.
Let's
Me too, Daniele, of course.
Let's dip into this Champions League. Guys, remember to comment the video with us. Leave your tips and predictions if you agree, if you disagree. And of course, press the like and subscribe. We were missing you guys all together to do these videos, of course. So let's go because people want to know your tips for the Group A. We are going to start with following the order of the groups. Group A, the early kickoff is Ajax Rangers, is one of the lower odds that we are going to see in this match day. Alvaro, only 1.5 if you think Ajax is going to beat Rangers. Why is that? Probably because Ajax won all 5 games in the Eredivisie, whereas Rangers just lost the Old Firm against Celtic. But I guess, Alvaro, praise to Rangers that they are finally in the group stages of this Champions League.
Absolutely. I mean, they reached the Europa League final last season. They have won the Scottish League 55 times, so they are not strangers to the European Cup, but it's true that they've been out for a long time. And after beating PSV Eindhoven in the last playoff, they managed to qualify in a game that proved again that the Glasgow Rangers, they have the competitive edge right now. I like the way they are trying to set up. They are even trying to play the ball from the back, which is really countercultural in Scottish football. Then they have reinforced the team. They got Antonio Cholach, a player who scored the winning goal at Eindhoven for Glasgow Rangers. So, they have built the team a little bit around this player, and they are keeping the core of the team that took them to the Europa League final last season. When it comes to Ajax, well, I understand why the odds are so favorable for them, because at the end of the day, Ajax last season won the 6 group stage games, something that they did for the first time in their history. So, all that, you put it together with the fact that Ajax has been playing in the Champions League for a while now, the fact that Ajax has been very competitive in the Champions League lately. Yes, they've got a new manager, Alfred Schreuder, but he's no stranger to Ajax. In fact, he was assistant manager for the team in 2018, 2019. And some usual suspects that we love are still there. Dusan Tadic, 90 goals in around 200 appearances for Ajax. Steven Bergwijn is one of the signings. I think that he's working well for Ajax so far. And he's a good signing. So for this game, since backing Ajax to win the game is not enough, in my opinion, because it won't give you a lot of money, I would go for the halftime, full-time market. It would be Ajax winning the first half and keeping the win in the second half. That doubles up your bet. I'm going for that one.
I think this game could not come in a worst moment for Rangers because they were completely played off the park by Celtic, beaten 4-0. The midfield got overrun. The only hope for Van Bronckhorst is that they learn from the defeat, as they did last April when they were defeated 3-0 soundingly by Celtic. I think they're behind Celtic Rangers this season. I can see Ange Postecoglou's side really improving. It is true that Rangers are building more international experience. They had a very good Europa League campaign. Even the previous year with Gerrard, they did well. But in the qualifiers, if you look at the game against PSV, it was smash and grab in the Netherlands. McLaughlin was the best man on the pitch, and then Antonio Colac scored a 2-2 in the first leg as well. The question with Rangers is how deep is the squad after selling Bassi, Aribo. They were so good last season for them. Of course, there is no Ramsey anymore. And then when it comes to the pedigree in the Champions League, as Alvaro pointed out rightly, Ajax got better pedigree. This is the first time Rangers are in the Champions League since 2010, and they only won 19% of their Champions League games. Only Anderlecht has done worse, 70%, of course, amongst the team that played at least 50 games. So not a great deal of experience there. That could not play in the favor. But if you need to look to a betting angle here, normally Rangers in Europe means goals because they tend to go for it. So does Ajax. So let's do for a mini ACCA here, a classic. Both to score and over 2.5 goals. You put them all together, it pays around 2.8.
And this is a funny group because we have Ajax Rangers. Rangers look like they are going to be the fourth of this group because the other two, they are Napoli, Liverpool, and Alvaro was talking about usual suspects, Kaiser Sose or whatever, but this Napoli-Liverpool, they are usual suspects. They play between each other only 2 seasons ago, and Napoli won 2-0 at the Diego Armando Maradona. And Dani, we still don't know where this Napoli is heading because they missed against Lecce. They couldn't beat Lecce at home, but they play away against Lazio in the Olimpico. This was a tough one, and they were able to win. Liverpool, we know that they are having trouble in the Premier League, so perhaps this is a good moment for backing Napoli somehow in this game.
I think it is. And I think we have underestimated Napoli all summer long, perhaps because of the transfers, they were not happening, the fact that they lost Koulibaly, Mertens, Insigne, Fabian Ruiz, but their starting 11, it's strong. If you take a Napoli starting 11, I don't think they are worse than any other team in Italy, and they're well drilled, well coached, they know what to do. They got a fantastic striker in Osimhen who can only improve. They got a fantastic signing in Kvaratskhelia who's done already wonders in Italy. And, you know, I think Spalletti's got the right man in the right place. Good formation. Maybe they might miss Lozano out because of a slight injury. At the moment, the new defender, Kim, is proving to be a good replacement for Koulibaly. Let's see how he does on the international stage. Lobotka in the middle of the field is the regista they need. So, you know, they seem to be clicking. What happened in midweek against Lecce? Spalletti made too many changes, 6 changes, changed the formation, changed the system, and it didn't work. So Napoli favorites, well, I wouldn't go that far, but I think, you know, they got a history, they got a pedigree of beating Liverpool. They also beat them Liverpool in 2018, 1-0. It was a very different Napoli, but be careful because Liverpool last season, they won all the 6 group stages games and they were excellent in this phase of the competitions. Liverpool are in a difficult situation. They struggle to control games, but who was the man of the match at the derby against Everton? Pickford. So with another keeper, that finishes 3-0 for Liverpool, maybe. You know, they both had chances. Also, Alisson wore brilliantly. Now, the question with Napoli is, will they be able to play with the same intensity from the start, the same passion, the same drive, the same anger as Everton did at the weekend? I think technically Napoli are far better than Everton. It's about really playing in Liverpool's face and don't being intimidated by the occasion. But in terms of the technical ability, no doubt Napoli, I think, are going to give Liverpool a good game. I like the goals market here. I think they both have excellent strikers. They are both in form. And yes, Liverpool, they still produce a lot of chances. Over 3 goals, 217, so 3-0, 2-1 each way, you get your money back. More than 3 goals, you win 217.
Liverpool, Alvaro, failed to win 4 out of the 6 games this season, and this one is a tricky one in a very difficult group, actually.
It is a tricky one. Liverpool has started the season badly, in my opinion. It all started wrong when they drew against Fulham, and that was a little bit of a whistleblower. The team is not as consistent defensively. I think that they are missing Thiago a lot. And up front, of course, not having Sadio Mane means that there is a change there. The competitiveness or the rivalry between Salah and Mane is gone. And I don't know if this is affecting as well Liverpool's team, because Salah's agenda and Mane's agenda, individual agendas, they work very well for Liverpool because both wanted to score more goals than the other, and that worked very well because that competitiveness boosted the team's scoring capacity. But anyway, I think that Liverpool could have a different version in the Champions League, a different version of themselves. I believe that they have been the real deal in the Champions League over the last 5 years. Real Madrid obviously won the title last season, but Liverpool has been terrorizing every team in Europe. And I don't see why they shouldn't be doing this, or I don't see why Jurgen Klopp's formula shouldn't be working still in the Champions League. The defense is the same. In the midfield, Harvey Elliott is working very well, even though I think that Thiago is a better player. And up front, they've got the likes of Luis Diaz, Salah, Diogo Jota is back. And I think that Darwin Núñez, little by little, he will become a very important player. Daniele has broken down Napoli very well. I want to wait and see with Napoli. Okay, they have 11 points in Italy out of 15, which is really good, and some of the players are working really well for Napoli this season. So, it's promising. Then I want to see Daniele. Maybe you can help me here. Kvaratskhelia. Playing for Napoli in the Champions League. He seems to be like a really good player. Let's see how far he goes, because this player has come pretty much out of the blue. But yeah, I think that Liverpool should win this one. At the end of the day, they won their last 6 games last season in the group stage. So I'm going to go for Liverpool to win. That doubles up your bet. Simple. And I like the Luis Diaz to score market as well. 3.3. I like that one too, because I think that Luis Diaz scores quite a lot of goals. And if you go for Salah to score, obviously the money is not generous. So Luis Diaz to score 3.3.
Alvaro praises Liverpool's European pedigree, and you spoke about Luis Diaz. So let's go to Group B. Atletico de Madrid, Porto. Luis Diaz, former team. We saw this game as well last season in the Champions League, and was a hell of a fight in Do Dragao. Atletico won that game and qualified for the last 16 in Metropolitano. Actually, Porto did very well. So I can see a very balanced game, Alvaro, in this first game for Atletico in the Champions League at home. Last season they had a lot of trouble when they were playing at home. They are very favorites, but also I think we are seeing some doubts in La Liga for Simeone's side.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Atletico de Madrid has been far from power. From a power force in the Champions League over the last years. Last season, they struggled to go through the group stage, even though the group was very, very difficult with AC Milan, with Liverpool, with Porto. And then they beat Manchester United and they lost to Manchester City. But I think that Atletico de Madrid doesn't impose their style as well anymore in the Champions League. This is factual. You can see it there. I mean, they reached a final in 2014. In 2016, they haven't been nowhere near the final over the last 5 or 6 years. And the truth is that in La Liga, Atletico de Madrid is not being fantastic. For example, the other day, I watched them against Valencia on Monday, and Valencia outplayed them completely for 60 minutes. The only difference is that Atletico de Madrid has more talent up front, and Antoine Griezmann came from the bench and scored that goal. Against Real Sociedad, they couldn't win this week. Barcelona beat Real Sociedad 4-1, by the way, at Anoeta, at Real Arena. Atletico de Madrid couldn't beat Real Sociedad. This is a team in formation. This is a team that is playing with 3 center-back now. I don't know if this is working very well, but it's a system done for Witsel, basically, for him to play the libero role and play from the back. And then up front, no one is making such a big difference to say, okay, yes, this is going to be the player who is going to take Atletico de Madrid to next level. Antoine Griezmann, well, he's not starting games for reasons that we have explained before. Alvaro Morata, he goes by phases. Sometimes he's very good, sometimes he's languid. So, it's difficult for me to predict this one. I would say that the draw has a really good value here, 3.55 for sure. But also I like the clean sheet for Atletico de Madrid. I think that this game is going to be decided in very, very small margins, and this is not going to be a high scoring game. So I could go for a clean sheet for Atletico de Madrid, 2.20. Let's don't forget only one thing, that Jan Oblak could be injured for this game, and Savic, I don't think that he's going to be fit for this game. So, this obviously may affect Atletico de Madrid a lot. So the clean sheet for Atletico de Madrid, I leave it a little bit dependent to Jan Oblak playing. Otherwise, I'm going to go for the draw.
Yeah, I think this is going to be tight. The under 2.5 goals pays 173, but I think you could expect less than two goals in this one. Porto, the usual suspect, really. Competitive, strong, hard, difficult to beat. They know how to stifle you, if you like. They done an okay campaign last season in the Champions League. Maybe they deserved more than Atletico Madrid in the end to go through, but they were undone at home in the last game of the season, and then in the UEFA Europa League, they done okay. They started the campaign fine, one defeat in the league, but it's a group of players that are very experienced and they know the managers very well. Consensao has been there a couple of seasons, so I think they know how to approach these sort of games. Keep it tight, don't concede silly chances, and they're always competitive. And I think at Porto they've got goals in them, Taremi, Uribe. So for this group going forward, is obviously between Atletico and Porto, who's going to finish top. I see them way ahead of Brugge and Leverkusen. But for this one, in a tight game, in a fight, if you like, in a game with not many goals, I think Atletico can have the edge because he plays at home and because he got better players up front. But the price for Atletico to win, which I will go for, is 186, is not great. So my suggestion will be either pass it, because I haven't found any great value, or if you really want to go for an Atletico win at 186.
I totally agree with Dani. I think these two teams should go through in this group because the other match is Brugge Leverkusen. We have the German team back to the Champions League 3 years later. They were failing to qualify for the Champions League, but they are having a very tough start in the Bundesliga. Only one victory, and they are playing in Bruges. Dani, we have better odds for this game because remember that last season, for instance, PSG were unable to win in this very same ground in the debut in the Champions League.
Yeah, but Bruges have changed a few personnel. Of course, they are without the Cateler this season. They still kept Noah Lang, but there've been a few changes there for Bruges. Let's see how they perform. They're getting used to the Champions League.
Ferran Jutgla is there, scoring plenty of goals. The former Espanyol and Barcelona player who started so many games for Barcelona. No, not many games for Barcelona last season, but he started a few for them.
All right. That's someone to take note of, because I didn't know. Sorry, I haven't followed the Belgian league closely. But Bruges are getting used to this Champions League business, whereas Leverkusen started the Bundesliga shockingly with 3 defeats in a row. They get knocked out of the German Cup, and this is a team that last season finished 3rd in the Bundesliga, and they got really big issues at the back. They scored 6 domestically, conceded 9, only 1 clean sheet, lost at the weekend against Freiburg 2-3 at home. So no doubt about the fact that they can go and score. They got players like Schick, scored 24 last season. Now they added his partner in the national team, Josek. Moussa Diaby, still 23, a good prospect. But can they keep it tight, especially when they travel? I think this one, considering how tight the group will be, is probably one of those games that none of them can afford to lose. So the draw could be interesting here if you like, but you have to consider that Bruges, yes, they got a bit more experience, but last season no wins in the Champions League at home. They conceded actually 11 goals at home in the Champions League group last season. Okay, very difficult group, of course, with Man City, with PSG, with Leipzig, but more than anybody. So I'm going to be a little bit counterintuitive. Yes, Bruges concedes a lot at home, but considering the struggle of Bayer Leverkusen here, I'm going to go for an under 3 goals, which could be still a big scoring, 2-1 or 3-0 each way. You get your money back. Under 3 goals, 203 for a team Leverkusen that is a little bit in turmoil, I think.
It's in turmoil, Alvaro, but usually with Soane, they are kind of entertaining. As Dani break down, they concede and they can score.
They are very entertaining. Last season in the Europa League group stage, they outpaced Betis. This is a team that scores plenty of goals. Last season in the Bundesliga, they scored 80, which is a team record as well. So this season they are not scoring as many. In the Bundesliga they have scored only 6. But I do believe that this is a matter of time that Bayer Leverkusen finds their form and they start banging goals again. I mean, last season Patrick Schick scored so many. Only Robert Lewandowski in the Bundesliga scored more. Then they got themselves a number of good players. For example, I like Piero Hincapié, the Ecuadorian central defender of Leverkusen, he starts for Ecuador already, and he's going to start in the World Cup. Then they got themselves a youngster from Sparta Prague, Adam Hosek, that they've got some expectations for. So, I think that this team of Bayer Leverkusen, they are going to keep a very similar style to the style they had last season. Basically, they were scoring many goals. And when it comes to Club Brugge, well, let's see how it works for them. But last season, they found it very hard to be in the Champions League. The truth is that they were in a very tough group as well, with Manchester City, PSG, RB Leipzig, but they scored 4 goals. They conceded 4 goals or more in 4 consecutive Champions League games. This tells you that this team has a lot of ground to cover and plenty of adjustments to do ahead of this Champions League. They signed Ferran Jutgla, and this striker who started a few games for Barcelona last season because Barcelona was in shambles. He's scoring plenty of goals for them. For this game, I could go for the goals market. Both teams to score sounds appealing on paper, but then you go to the odds and it pays only 150, maybe not enough. So I am going to go for something slightly more generous, but back in Bayer Leverkusen, just on the basis of what I saw last season in the Champions League. Club Brugge is not ready for the Champions League, or is not ready to compete many games in the Champions League. So I'm going to go for the draw no bet for Bayer Leverkusen, 165.
All right, let's move on to the sexy group in this Champions League, Group C, with Barcelona, Viktoria Plzen. I expect here Alvaro a storm from Barcelona. They showed the firepower in Sevilla, perhaps not playing greatly, but scoring a lot of goals with Lewandowski absolutely on fire. And after the disappointment last season in the Champions League, where they couldn't score goals, I expect them to score a lot against Viktoria Plzen. Remember, they are back in the Champions League. They were missing from 2018, this competition.
They are back. They beat Karabakh in the playoffs. This is a side that they never went through the group stage, and this season they are going to find it impossible. They are playing against Barcelona, Bayern, Inter. Well, that's not going to happen. It will be a really, really massive surprise if Viktoria Plzen comes out even third in this group. I think that Barcelona is the massive favorite, and here you really struggle to find a very appealing market. Probably you have to go to the individual market, players market, to see, for example, Robert Lewandowski. He is scoring many goals for Barcelona. We knew that he was going to do that, but I think Robert Lewandowski, perhaps to score 2 goals or more, doubles up your bet, and that is something that I will go for. This is going to be my main bet here, because Barcelona this summer, they have changed the team completely. I mean, Xavi said last May that the team needed reinforcements, and Matteo Alemany has done a lot for Xavi. He has brought in Rafinha, Lewandowski, Koundé at the back, Christensen at the back, Kessie in midfield. Well, this Barcelona side has been fortified with plenty of players who know that what they are doing, because this is very important. Lewandowski is a specialist, Koundé as well, and they are only adding quality to the side, and Frenkie de Jong stayed. So, this Barcelona side doesn't play football very well yet, but they storm into the games and they score goals even in the first half, plenty of them. So I'm going to go for Barcelona to win this game, of course, but I have to go to the individual market. So Lewandowski to score 2 or more goals doubles up your bet. I'm going to stay there.
Viktoria Plzen, I mean, what can we say? I mean, they've done well of getting there, I must say. They've done well last season, winning the domestic league, beating Slavia Prague at the playoff. Slavia Prague are a good side, and we saw them in the Europa League in the previous seasons, and they were winning the Czech League for 3 years in a row. And Viktoria Plzen, they pipped them to the post. First game in the Champions League since 2018. They are, I think it's between them and Maccabi Haifa, the lowest ranked team in the Champions League. So it's gonna be hard for them, really, these games and going into the following games. But all a great experience that they can build. Barcelona, really impressive for the way they went and do the business, the way they strengthened the team. They got a good identity. I think the chase with Real Madrid is still on. I see Real Madrid a better team overall, and complexity with a stronger identity, stronger mentality in Barcelona. They're going to give them a good fight, I think. And I think, in this group, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, at the moment, I see them favorite to qualify. When it comes to the betting odds here, you have to be really, really creative. You could expect, the goal animals like Lewandowski wanting to start the season scoring 2 or 3. These people always hunger for more. So you can go for the goals market. I don't think this is a game where Barcelona, if they're 2-0 up, they will just stop playing. Barcelona win, okay, that pays basically nothing, but you have to put it together with an over 3.5 goals. That gives you a decent return, 2.03. So a Barcelona win for 4-0, 5-0, 4-1. That gives you good. They give you 203, considering how many options they got in attack and how well they want to start, of course, the season in the Champions League.
I expect a smashing result, actually, after what we saw from Barcelona this season and what we saw last season in the Champions League. And they have to win, of course, and get a good margin, because the other match is Inter Milan, Bayern Munich. Dani, and when I say this match, I guess you put a smile in your face, good memories. In 2010 was already a long time ago, but Inter beat Bayern Munich, of course, in the Champions League final in Bernabeu. Things have changed, and when we come to betting and to this game, Bayern are still favorites. Odds are 2.0, even if they drop points against Union Berlin or Gladbach, Dani, but this Inter is very inconsistent in the back.
I can see trouble ahead for Inter. Yes, of course, the Champions League final 2010, the last success of an Italian team in the Champions League, of course. Great memory for Inter, who beat Bayern also the following year in a spectacular fashion, that 3-2 at the Bayern Arena in 2011. But that's the last time, actually, Bayern lost against an Italian team in the last 10 games. So that tells you how big the golfing class has been with this Bayern team and the Italian side. It comes to Inter. Inter are in a bit of an issue, because I think, apart from losing the derby 3-2, which they deserve to lose despite playing well the last 25 minutes and forcing some great saves from Magnan, I can see there is a lack of quality at the moment in Inter. They are without Lukaku, which was the biggest gamble of the summer. Obviously, the big signing and bringing him back represented a lot, but he's going to be out for another at least 4 weeks. And now without him, they seem to have no other options than playing basically the same formation, the same players that they played last year, without Perisic on the left. And there is a lack of quality there. They don't know who's going to play on the left-hand side role, which is so crucial in the 3-5-2. Inzaghi sometimes is putting Darmian, sometimes is putting Di Marco, which basically are defenders adapted, and not trusting Gosens, who should be the man to replace Perisic. And also, I think Inter, apart from that, sometimes they play a too slow rhythm. Sometimes they play with the mirror in the hand. They look at themselves and think how good we are, and actually they don't put the foot on the gas. And they seem to have lost the hunger they had with Antonio Conte a little bit. I don't know whether it's the manager's fault, Inzaghi not being able to motivate them enough. The defense is a concern. They conceded 8 goals in 5 games. Against Milan, the defense was shocking. De Vrij and Bastoni were immobile against Giroud and Leao. And, already against Cremonese in midweek, if you remember in my Serie A video, I told you, this defense, it's troubling. You concede those so many chances against the top side, you are out of the game. And then again, Inzaghi's selection, I'm not sure what he's doing. Why is he not starting Dzeko instead of Lukaku and plays with Correa? The midfielders are not running in behind those type of strikers, Lautaro and Correa. Lautaro in the big games, sometimes it goes missing. Andanovic, do we have a problem with the keeper? I think we do. If you look at the expected goals, the expected saves for Andanovic, the stats are shocking. He's not even making the easy saves anymore. But having said that, Inter have got a lot of pride. They showed that in the last 25 minutes of the derby. They showed they could even equalize against Milan, although I don't think they deserved. So they might come out fighting against a Bayern Munich side that is strong. It's very strong, but it's not unbeatable, and recent results have proven it. Having said that, I think Bayern Munich are going to win this one. I'm going to win this. And I think we might have seen a repeat of the games that Inter played last season against Liverpool, against Real Madrid. They're going to go toe-to-toe, but in the end, the different quality will emerge. The Bayern Munich win is good. It pays well, 189. So I would take it. Why not? But if you want to be a little bit more ambitious here, Asian handicap minus 0.75 for Bayern Munich 213, which means if Bayern Munich wins only 1-0, you win half your stake.
Because Inter, Alvaro, even they are struggling in recent years in Europe.
Yes, it has happened to them. It's not easy. The truth is that Inter has been really unlucky over the last 5 years with the draw. And we have to say that because that is true. They've been very unlucky. Daniele, how many times have you been paired up with Barcelona and Dortmund? Or Tottenham and Barcelona and
Real Madrid?
Real
Real
Madrid.
Twice.
And things like that. The Real Madrid Shakhtar and Borussia Mönchengladbach 2 seasons ago. That's not easy. And then when they go through the group stage and they negotiate it, they play against Liverpool. Like last season, which, by the way, Inter was fantastic against Liverpool last season. And, I think that it was tighter than it looked that tight. But Daniele is right. I mean, this is an Inter side that perhaps they are not going for it with the appetite that they were going in the past with Antonio Conte. They still have a decent side. They still are going to compete for the Serie A, of course, but they are playing against a Bayern side that, even though sometimes they've got dips in their forms or in their focus, which is something that I would like to point out here, when they turn up for the day, they are, the demolishing machine that they were last season. If you check their numbers, this year they have scored in the Bundesliga, for example, 5 against Köln, in the Pokal League, 7 against Bochum, 2 against Wolfsburg at home. Wolfsburg is always like a competitive side. 6 against Frankfurt in the first game of the Bundesliga. So, they have drawn games here and there, but when they win very heavily. So this could be one of the days when Bayern again takes it seriously and goes for it. And I think that this would be too much for Inter. So Bayern to win 187 is good enough, in my opinion. I mean, I like that market a lot because I think that the money, for beating Inter at their ground, 187 is very generous. And maybe if you go to the goals market, you could go for over 3 goals, 177. I can see this happening too if Bayern scores quickly in the game, because Inter will have to chase the game. But yeah, as I said, 187 Bayern to win is about good enough for me. But let's don't forget that Inter can be an attacking side as well. And last season, for example, there is a stat that stayed with me. Inter was the team that produced more shots in the Champions League group stage last season. So that tells you that they are not going to slack off. They are not going to defend. They are going to go at it. I can expect goals in this game, yeah.
And the last group we are going to analyze, Group D, is a very open one and is very uncertain, I think, the first game. For instance, Frankfurt Sporting, because both started pretty badly the season, we can say. Frankfurt, for them, luckily, they are turning the corner, if we can say that. They scored 8 in the last 2 games, 4 against Leipzig. They are coming from winning the Europa League, but Sporting, they were very competitive last season in the Champions League in a very tough group, leaving out Borussia Dortmund. Alvaro, and their intention, of course, is this season also qualifying again in a very balanced group, in my opinion.
It is very balanced, yeah, and let's see how they do. I like Frankfurt last season. Let's see how they cope without Filip Kostic, because he left and obviously he was very important. But then Kamada stayed. They got themselves Mario Götze as well. Mario Götze is a player that if he gets his form back, he's a great number 10 and he can offer plenty of attacking options and also creativity up front. And then they are playing against Sporting Club Portugal, a team that has started a bit slowly this season. In fact, they lost 2 games in a row before winning this weekend against Estoril, but they lost against Porto 3-0. That was pretty comprehensive. And then they lost against Chaves 2-0 as well. So, maybe this is a Sporting side that, is getting very, very far away from the side that won the league in 2021. We can say that. So for this game, even though Sporting Club Portugal has players like Pedro Gonçalves, who is the star, the scorer, Trincao is there. Let's see how he plays, but I don't rate this player a lot. I think that Frankfurt should win it, so I'm going to go for Frankfurt to win 228.
I think last season, Sporting Club Portugal surprised everyone. They qualified. No one thought they were going to finish seconds ahead of Borussia Dortmund. And they play some very good football under Ruben Amorim. At some point, I think Ruben Amorim was even linked to the Manchester United job as well. He's a very progressive manager, gets his team to play on the front foot. I like watching him. But this year, Sporting looks like a different side, especially because they are without Palhinha, they are without Nunes. So I don't know. It's a question mark here. Yes, of course, Gonçalves, good player. He scored 4 goals last season in the Champions League. Let's see. They won at the weekend, as Alvaro said. They were in a back to feet without scoring. This is tough, I think. Eintracht Frankfurt could win it. I like the Asian handicap minus 0.25 in the second half, which more than doubles your money, 2.10.
And the two teams that should qualify, I guess, in this group, Tottenham and Marseille, they are meeting in North London, especially after the good start for both sides in their championship. We expect a lot, Dani, from Spurs with Conte in his second season. Perhaps they are getting the results. They are not playing that good, but I'm surprised about the start of Olympique Marseille with only 1 draw in the Ligue 1.
I like the appointment of Igor Tudor. He showed with Udinese, with Verona in the last couple of seasons in Italy how good manager he is, how intense he is, how high his teams press, how aggressive they are. He's a sort of mini Antonio Conte, if you like. No surprise, they were teammates in the Juventus side in the early 2000s. So I think Tudor is really growing a lot of experience, and it's a good choice for him to go to Olympique Marseille, testing himself at the highest level in the Champions League. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. I think Marseille can eye a top 2 finish for sure in this group. And also because they got a good team. Last season they did okay in the Conference League. They reached the semi-finals and lost against Feyenoord. And they added good experience this season in the transfer market. Veretout, Tavares, who's doing really well, Sanchez, Bailey, also Klaus, the other wing back, is having a good season. They won at the weekend. They are 5 wins and 1 draw.
You're forgetting maybe the best one of all of them, Luis Suarez, Daniele.
Of course. Luis Suarez as well. So I mean, they got a good side. They got a good side. Derek Gominadin also. They still got Sanzikun there. So I do rate them. The question is whether Payet is gonna be fit to play with this one. But domestically they done well. 5 wins, 1 draw. They are a scoring side. There is a difference in style from Sampaoli to Tudor. With Sampaoli they were much more labored, keeping the possession more. With Tudor they're more aggressive. They're gonna be on Tottenham's face, I think. Both to score here, 2-0-2.
But in Europe, Alvaro, I would trust a little bit more Tottenham and their know-how with Conte, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. And I think that this group is quite open. I don't think that Marseille should consider themselves favorite to qualify, because I think that Frankfurt and Sporting Club Portugal can give them a big fight. But I do believe that Tottenham is the favorite to qualify first. In fact, they have started the Premier League very well, playing with the system of Antonio Conte, which has been upgraded, obviously, with Perisic playing on the left. And then, the signing of Christian Romero. He was on loan from Atalanta. Now he's in the team. He won't play this time, though, but he's in the team. Romero is going to give them a lot of composure at the back. And the team resembles a little bit Chelsea in 2017. Maybe they don't have such a good squad overall, in the sense that Chelsea had Fabregas, Kanté, and players of really good quality. But with Bentancur, Højbjerg, and then Harry Kane, Son, Richarlison, and Kulusevski up front, the team is working very well. I mean, Antonio Conte doesn't use many players, probably 12, 15, but this is working so far. Let's see how Tottenham copes with playing 2 high-intensity competitions like the Premier League and the Champions League together, because this is something that Antonio Conte normally has struggled with. I'm going to go for a very simple one here. Tottenham to win and Harry Kane to score. You put all that together, that pays 274.
It's true that Conte was a bit disappointing with Inter in the Champions League. So, guys, let's go a bit quickly with your ACCA, Alvaro, starting with you.
Very quickly. Tottenham to win, Lewandowski to score 2 goals or more, Liverpool to win, Barcelona to score in both halves. Altogether 8.64.
I like it. I like it, that Lewandowski one. Atletico Porto under 2.5 goals. Barcelona to score in both halves. Or maybe Lewandowski. Bayern Munich to win. Napoli, Liverpool, both teams to score. Total odds 7.76.
Great, guys. Tell me if you agree with Dani, with Alvaro. Tell me your tips for this match day. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Enjoy Champions League. Bye-bye.
Ciao.